And welcome back. Each week, we honor someone or group who is making America proud because they're giving selflessly to help others. They're our Patriot of the Week. This week, Rosie Mankes is our honoree. She is a two-time cancer survivor, having made it past both lung and breast cancer. She's now trying to use her story to help save other people. Her selection is especially timely since today is the last day of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Rosie is donating a portion of the proceeds from her new book, Find Your Joy and Run With It, to stand up for cancer. Let's welcome Rosie Mankes to America right now. Rosie, great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
So take us through your story. How important was early detection to your two bouts with cancer?
So early detection was pivotal for me because I was diagnosed in 2008 with a very early stage lung cancer, stage 1A lung cancer. And I had 10% of my right lung removed. And then a couple of years later in 2015, I was diagnosed with a stage 0 breast cancer, but I also tested positive for a different gene, not one that most people know. Most people know BRCA, but I was tested positive for CHEK2, and it made me more likely to develop an invasive stage cancer, about 50% more likely to develop it. And I ultimately had a double mastectomy and reconstructive surgery thereafter.
And, you know, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And what are the most important prevention tips that you can offer our viewers?
You know, I just did a video on social on October 16th, which is National Mammogram Day. And I shared in the video that back in 2015, my friend and I, September 2015, we went for our mammograms every month, every year together. And we would go have the mammogram and then we would go out to lunch. And that year was an exceedingly difficult year for me. And I told her, I have to skip. I think I'm going to push my mammogram off until January. And she said, no, come, because we always go and then we go for lunch. And I went, and shortly thereafter, I was diagnosed with the early stage breast cancer, which ultimately led to having the mastectomy because of I tested positive for the gene. So if I had pushed it off until January, I may have had a more invasive stage cancer, or might not even be here to tell this story today. So it's so super important for a woman to keep their appointments and go for their yearly screenings.
You know, we're hearing, Rosie, that thousands, tens of thousands of women are putting off their mammograms because they're afraid to go into the hospital or to go to a doctor's office to get tested because of COVID. It's so important that people keep their cancer screenings, both men and women, to ensure that that they're able to try and have early detection, which certainly saves lives. You have a new book out. Talk to us about the book. It's called Find Your Joy and Run With It. Why did you feel compelled to write it?
You know, I went through a very difficult journey from September 2015 to September 16. I had a very challenging year. I was diagnosed with the breast cancer, as I told you, and had to ultimately have a double mastectomy. But during that same year, my family and I had to transition my very fearful, resistant mom into an assisted living facility due to the progression of the dementia. And things started to settle down. My 58-year-old healthy brother died in a horrific accident. So as you might imagine, when stuff like that happens, I was living a life in fear, paralyzing anxiety. And I really was trying to figure out how I could move from despair and despondency to become well again and feel emotional wellness. And this is a story that shares how you can move from that place and bring yourself to a place where there is emotional wellness and healing. It's a very inspirational story. It's raw, it's honest, it's emotionally relatable, and believe it or not, it's pretty funny, laugh out loud at some points. But I wrote it because first I thought it would be cathartic for me to write it, but then I started to see how it was helping as I was sharing it out. People that were struggling with the cancer journey or any significant struggles, how they could take the learnings that I had and apply it to their life. And how emotional they got when they gave me feedback, and it made me feel like, wow, this is really resonating with people.
Rosie Mankes, you are our Patriot of the Week. Thank you so much for joining us. And of course, a portion of of the proceeds from her book are going to Stand Up to Cancer.